Shit's not working. Okay, but we're good. Here we go. Duster Squad podcast rolling in. Coming in fast and furious without Ben. He bailed, geez, what, 30 minutes before?
What a
But
bitch.
that's okay. 'Cause it's Saturday, and I hope Benny's out having
That's
fun.
totally fine, except that he said the only night I can make it is Saturday. and then he's apparently that was also incorrect. But yeah. So, and you know what? Good riddance. I didn't want him on this episode anyway.
Oh, no.
Goddamn guy.
That's right.
Danielle and I are watching. He's so whatever.
No, go into it, please.
We're watching the game, and Danielle sends her. You guys probably got it. Snapchatted like the USA.
Yeah, I responded.
Yeah, and then he comes back and is like, nah, and he's got his fucking stupid Canada jersey on. Like, whatever, dude. Fucking move there then.
Yeah, man. Go north.
I actually think that he would quite enjoy that, and I think that would be a fun move for him. But, yeah.
Listen, as a hockey fan, I love having as much as I butt heads with my Rangers fan friends, it's fun having Rangers fans and Islanders fans. So I think that's fun having a Canadian fan and then some US fans.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's so we'll start. So we didn't get to do an episode after last week. So mid tournament, we didn't get to do an episode.
Which would have been before.
It would have been
after the first USA Canada game.
It would have been right after that the round robin game. So I will preface
Let's talk about that.
I will preface everything with I watched the US games and I only watched the ones that I could watch, the ones on ESPN Plus. Those are the only games I watched. I could have watched some of the other ones. Well, actually no, I couldn't cuz a lot of them were like 1 p.m. and I'm like working. Like I can't watch that. But yeah, so I was able to watch the first US game against Finland. What a game, honestly. That got me so hyped. And then obviously I watched the first Canada game, and then I watched the second game, US versus Canada, the final.
I watched the 2 USA Canada games, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch the Sweden game. I don't think anybody really cared about that one anyway.
It didn't matter. It straight up didn't matter. It straight up didn't matter.
I didn't watch the USA Sweden game, but I pretty much watched every other game.
Okay. Did you have were you able to watch the TNT games too?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I used my parents' cable information for that. Oh yeah. So that was pretty helpful.
Yeah, we could have if it was we'll have to do Hulu Live or YouTube TV or whatever. We'll have to do one of those things for the playoffs. But we don't have that right now. What I will say is this tournament was so awesome. And although some of the credit goes to Bettman and Daly and the execs that decided to do it, I think so much of the credit goes to the players who decided, this is going to be real. This is going to be real hockey. We're going to make this real. And
then people are going to care about it too.
You gotta see the people.
I saw
care.
a viewer stat on, and it was it said some crazy number of the amount of people who watched the game. It was the most viewed hockey game in the United States since 2019.
Yeah, dude.
This is speaking of the USA Canada game, the first one in the round robin, right? But just in general, right? It brought so much extra attention to what was going on. I've been trying to get my hands on the USA Four Nations hat. Sold out everywhere.
Yeah, dude. The hat, dude. The jerseys were pretty nice. I didn't really care about any of that merch stuff until I watched the games, and I was like, okay, I want something now. Yeah. I haven't gotten anything, but
I found the hat on the Canada Lids website.
Oh,
but I'm I don't know if I can buy from Canada like that.
Yeah. Well, dude, how much extra will you pay for that with the tariffs, the Trump tariffs?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think is kind of catapulted the whole especially it kind of sucks for Finland and Sweden because it's happening over here and
Yeah.
because of the situations like even the political situation. It kind of felt like the entire tournament was like it's US versus Canada and then those other two teams, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because they were also very good teams, although they didn't quite show up. They didn't quite show up very well in very many of them. Finland, though, how about Finland? You know, them and Sweden is their own little rivalry, and they actually got the better of Sweden in their game, their round robin game. So
I think, I mean, the other thing too, like, I do think those teams took a little bit to get going. They weren't as consistent as both the USA and Canada, but Sweden took Canada to overtime. They took Finland to overtime, and they beat the US. And I know it was a banged up US team at that point, but
they beat the
like, at
US
the
in
same time,
overtime, I think, right?
I thought it was regulation.
Yeah, maybe it
I
was.
2-1. I thought it was 2-1. I thought Jesper Bratt scored the winner. But regardless, like, they showed up. And then Finland, the big thing with Finland, right, was they were missing Heiskanen. And of course, future Norris winner Rasmus Ristolainen as well. So they're down.
Big loss with Heiskanen.
Future
If they would have had
Norris.
Heiskanen, I bet you that would have been a completely different tournament for them.
Yeah, and like so that's the thing. Like anyone, like I know it's easier to say this after everything's done. It kind of was anyone's tournament. I'd say Finland, and again, no offense to Finland because of injuries. That was the one that was kind of like the long shot. But Sweden was like right there. If Sweden beat Canada in that first game that they played, that went to overtime, because Sweden had an amazing comeback, it could have been totally different. 1 goal. That's all it was. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was I was just it was so good and it speaks to how much the players have missed this type of hockey, best on best, playing for your country. Like how they played and how much they cared speaks to like it's been 9 years since that World Cup and the World Cup wasn't even fully best on best cuz they had the Team Europe and
Yeah.
then the Team North America young guys who some of them might have been on that you know, their respective teams, but like McDavid, you're telling me McDavid's not playing for Canada
yeah,
in 2016, but yeah, it's first time in 9 years we get that and it was a coming out party for two individuals that we can talk about more. Dude, and these guys have been catapulted into US stardom. The Tkachuk brothers, dude. I got to tell you, man, listen, and here's the thing. We'll talk about this later because we're going to talk about how this kind of translates into the Olympics next year. But Brady Tkachuk, I could watch him crush Canada defensemen all day, man. He goes in, Drew Doughty, he just crushes him into the boards and he's on his ass. It's incredible.
Like 3 times he pancaked Doughty. I'm like, my
Dude.
God. I'm talking to one of Liz's friends while we're watching this game, and he's like, holy shit, Tkachuk hits him. Like, he doesn't let up. I was like,
is big.
I was like, Tkachuk sometimes has offensive issues, but one thing you can count on with him, he's always gonna fucking follow through on a hit.
He is gonna crush guys. Yeah, dude, it was him and Matthew. Like that first game, the game against Finland, it was going okay, and all of a sudden the third period, everything just opens up, and the two Tkachuks each get 2 apiece, I think.
Yeah,
in that game, and they're just running around crushing people. And it's just awesome, dude. And then Freebird plays after every goal, and it's just incredible. I love that goal song.
Yeah.
How did it feel cheering for Matthew? Obviously, as he's kind of an arch.
Yeah. Yeah, we could talk about that, I guess. No, I mean it's pretty cool. You're like, hey, this guy, because he's a great player, and you're like, hey, I get to cheer for this guy. It's the same as like Leafs fans cheering for McDavid. They're like, oh, this is sweet.
Yeah,
or like McKinnon.
Have they come out with what he's really injured with yet?
Matthews? No, I think it's I don't know.
Matthew.
Oh, like Tkachuk. Oh, is that who you're talking about?
Matt yeah, sorry. I was saying Matthew.
Gotcha.
Talk about, dude, it's
even better, dude. I love it. I've been saying it for years. I would love this guy on my team, and then when he's on the other team, I hate it. I hate his guts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, so I guess him and Drew Doughty have like this major rift between the two of them.
Dowdy
And-
and Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the announcers were, or was it the announcers? I can't remember if it was the announcers or if it was the Spit and Chicklets guys, because they did an episode right after the U.S. Canada game, so they went in on biz pretty hard. But they were saying how those two have had like this thing where they've hated each other since since Matthews joined the league, right? And they're like, what would have made that better is if he would have fought him, or if Bennett would have fought Matthew Tkachuk instead.
yeah,
That'd be funny.
yeah, man. It was just so fun. We can talk about. So let's talk about the first game. You watched it, right, Eric?
Yeah, whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So we all watched it. I mean, it was like
and I think
huge.
going into that game, I think everybody was like, you didn't really know, right? It could have gone either way, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was on paper the rosters. You're probably thinking the U.S. is more balanced, but you've got like Canada's ridiculous offense, and the U.S. limited Canada's ridiculous offense to 1 goal.
Yeah, because of the defense being loaded, right?
So let's talk about. We're talking about the first game. The big story from Team Canada side: Cale Makar was out that game.
Very true.
Right.
And for Team USA, I believe at that point Charlie McAvoy was still playing. Yes,
Yeah.
he
Oh
was.
yeah, he was.
Out. He laid out McDavid a bunch of.
Absolutely, just
Yeah.
He made him horizontal in midair,
Yeah.
and it was incredible.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. So, like, I'm sure we're gonna have to circle back to the actual beginning of the game, but he gets walked by McDavid on that first goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that
And then
was.
Yeah, it's hard because nobody's gonna keep up with him on foot.
It's McDavid, and he receives the puck, and he's just gone. So yeah, like you're not gonna stay with him. You just.
But then for him to be like mentally okay for the rest of the game after thinking like, "Fuck, I just got gated around by the best player in the world," but then he fucking just drills him like 3 times.
dude,
Okay,
yeah,
he's good.
that was dude. That's what I loved about. That's what I loved about the U.S.'s game. In that first game, especially, was they were like, "We are going to smash you, and then we'll score. That's secondary, but we're gonna smash you first." And that was just how they played. And it was like, dude, that first 9 seconds with the 3 fights. You know what it was? It immediately jumped into my head. One, it was the Bash brothers from D2, was the 2 Tkachuks, and then when Miller went in, it was that little Asian figure skater. Like that was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, because that was such an uneven fight with him and Parayko,
Oh
right?
my god, dude! He dropped his gloves. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He
Oh,
didn't even
no.
throw a punch. He was like swinging, but he was like open hand swinging and like grabbing.
Well, JT Miller is not a fighter.
He is not a fighter. That's why I'm like, bro, just keep your gloves on
But-
and just play the damn game.
Props to him for doing it, right?
Hey,
'Cause that's what-
yeah.
So that's the thing that like polarized everybody, right? Like, so I'm watching that game, and I'm like,
Gutsy.
oh fuck, no shit. Off the first drop, right? Matthew Tkachuk goes in, right, against your boy from the
Fights
Lightning.
my boy Hagel.
That was
yeah.
a good fight.
That was
I
a
would
very
say-
good fight.
Hagel actually, I would think, probably got the dub on that one. A lot of people are like, oh, they were all draws. I'm like, I don't think so. I think Hagel got the first one, but anyway.
I don't know.
But
I can't
then,
remember.
but then Brady drops the gloves off the second puck drop, right, with Sam Bennett, right, and we're like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that happened, and I was like, all right, you got it out of your system. Now let's play some hockey. And then fucking 5 seconds later, there's like a whistle, and JT Miller's like, oh, screw it,
Okay.
I'll drop mine. And I'm like, God damn it, I just want to see some hockey.
So then they say after the game, right, that this was already all pre-planned, like they knew that they were gonna do this.
Yeah, it
Right.
sounds like the Tkachuk boys were like,
Right, at least the Tkachuk, the
fucking
2
fighting
Tkachuk
somebody.
fights the 2 Tkachuk fights definitely were.
yeah,
planned.
oh yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know about the JT Miller one, but
He
He was
might have
probably like,
he planned it in his head. He was like, somebody looks at me the wrong way.
he was probably thinking as he dropped those gloves, he's like, fuck, it could have been anybody else except for Borrego.
What if he just dropped his gloves and then skated at somebody totally different and just grabbed him? Like the smallest guy on the ice. Okay, yeah, so that was the first game. They get scored on first, and then I don't even remember, dude. It was so long ago.
Gensel got like a trickle-in goal. That was
That's
kind of a garbage goal
That's
against
right.
Bennington, right?
Yeah, it was.
And
Yeah, he was kind of shaky first little bit, and we can talk. Oh,
yeah.
that changed.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Gensel, another player who's like
Yeah, he looked good in that tournament.
very good, very good.
Yeah. Hopefully that translates over to the rest of the season.
I
right?
would love that. Yeah, he's been great the whole year. Anyway, it's this guy. He's just money in the bank.
I'm
As
gonna
much
be
as
honest.
I yelled about him at the beginning of the season.
Eric, I'll tell you who didn't look good this tournament. Brock Nelson.
Yeah, I mean,
He was kind of invisible, but like he also got like barely any ice time.
yeah,
I know. He's just so slow out there compared to everybody else, especially in that last game because he had to play more.
Yeah. No, I saw. It was funny you bring that up. I mean, we'll get to it, but in the last game, he had like one chance to shoot the puck, and he shot it all right and missed the net by like 3 feet. But he like put everything he had into it. I'm like, you know what? At least if you wanted to be the hero, it was going bar down. But you know, to finish up on game one, Gensel is just so. I feel like when the stakes get higher, Gensel plays better. Like you said, money in the bank. That's perfect. He always is like in the right place at the right time, or can always make like the play that you need him to make. I was really happy to see Dylan Larkin get that second goal because guys, Detroit has sucked, and Dylan Larkin has not been in the playoffs. I don't think so at all in his career, and I think he's very underrated.
Oh
and
yeah.
has teammates that good around him, and you see how good how effective he can be out on the ice, because even away from the puck he still skates so well. He did not look slow at all amongst the likes of McKinnon, McDavid, all those super fast Canadians.
Yeah.
That was really great to see him just bury one with a snipe on that
was a snipe.
That was a
was
really
really-
nice shot.
He was
yeah.
definitely. I think he was one of the most underrated players on that U.S. team.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's game one. But what's crazy is even leading up to the second championship rematch, Team USA. I mean, I don't know if you guys felt the same way. Just on social media, like looking at all the things that were happening with injuries, and
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, who's gonna be playing against whoever at that point? Either I guess
Right,
Sweden or-
because then they start talking about like, oh, they're bringing in Quinn Hughes, and they're like, oh no, they're
Yeah,
not. And then I'm
yeah.
like, Sanderson's getting brought in, and I'm like, oh Jesus. And then you see the whole thing going on with McAvoy, which as soon as I saw that, I was like, fuck, they're gonna lose.
So
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys know about the McAvoy situation? The whole story behind that?
Yeah.
It was a shoulder injury that then got infected.
All right, so here's the yes. The medical staff for this tournament was the Minnesota Wild medical staff, right? And they were talking about
Did they mess up?
a little bit. Charlie McAvoy got injured when the USA was playing Finland.
So when he
And
went into the pipe,
they medically cleared him to play against Team Canada. And what was Charlie McAvoy doing against Team Canada? Throwing his shoulder.
Absolutely
just
crushing
let
dudes.
And
McDavid.
because he was medically cleared after Finland to play against Canada, that's what ended up re-aggravating or making that injury worse. And then he got an infection and then could not play. So this is all we know so far about that. But they brought something up that was really interesting. This isn't the first time the Minnesota Wild medical staff have messed up with a Bruins player. So when Pat Maroon got traded to the Bruins, I think it was last years ago, Boston apparently was mad at the medical report that was given to them for Pat Maroon, because they expected Pat Maroon to be ready to play based on the medical report, and Pat Maroon was not ready to play. He needed to like tweak something or get something done, and the Bruins were pissed about that. They're like according to all the paperwork you guys gave us, he should be good to go, but he wasn't. So this is once again another Bruin, and the Minnesota Wild medical staff clearing him way too early. Now, obviously, we know what hockey players are like, right? That USA-Canada game was 10 years in the making. So McAvoy's probably like, yeah, I'll just play. We're a little banged up. I'll play through it, whatever. But at the same time, it's up to the medical staff to be like, well, if you guys want to make it to the championship, you'll probably be playing Canada anyway. So
Very true.
So right, so as they play Finland, was it Finland, right?
Yeah.
Going into that game, they lost Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk out of the first period of that game. Matthews sat out. McAvoy was out.
Oh, that was the Sweden game.
Oh, Sweden.
Yeah, that
sure.
was the Sweden game.
So then you're like, I was like you said, Eric, I was like, oh Jesus, like what the fuck is gonna happen here?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no shot. Like if any of those forwards are out and McAvoy's out, I'm like, no, not gonna happen. And this is my only comment to the whole Matthew Tkachuk thing. Like, sounds like he was pretty injured. Like,
oh my
to the
gosh,
point where he shouldn't have played.
Dude, you could see it.
And like, at that point, like, I can't, blame him for it. He wants to be there. He wants to win. He wants to play for the country, right? But like, you have a better shot at winning pulling a reserve in that last week. Like they brought Sanderson in. There's got to be another forward that's on reserve for him.
They had healthy scratched Kyle Connor.
They did.
They healthy scratched Kyle Connor.
Kyle Connor healthy would have been better than Matthew Tkachuk not healthy.
Well, especially because Matthew Tkachuk played. He played like not even half the game, and then he was just
played
on
parts
the
of the first period, and that was it. He never got back in the second.
I think he got on in the second period, and his last
for like
shift
5 seconds.
It was like
right?
it was like a 10-second shift, and you could see it. I don't know if you could see. You can tell he was skating, and his stride was short, and it wasn't going all the way back. And I'm like, yeah, this dude's pulled his groin. He's got some kind of groin tear. And you could tell, and I'm like, yeah, this guy can barely move. He's not going to be able to play. Which, yeah, I agree. Like, I feel for him because, like, obviously you want to be in this big, huge game. Man, you got to take one for the team and be like, listen, I'm not going to be able to do it. You got to, like, you know what I mean? You have to be able to have that kind of. Micah Ruzioni would have sat out.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know that.
That's really.
They would have brought Ralph Cox back in.
Yeah, Coxie.
I didn't think about the situation like that. Yeah, like Tkachuk, he's just because you just think he's such a leader, and you can't imagine him not on the bench, right, for a game like that. But you bring up a great point. It's like, well, Kyle Connor is a sniper, and when you need someone to score a big goal, right?
And I'll be honest, Kyle Connor.
Didn't do shit.
He was a ghost.
Yeah.
All the other games, but like, at least that would have been another body.
It would have been better because he's gonna at least be able to play, right? Like Kreider now had to pick up a bunch of extra minutes because of that. Like, who would you rather have on the ice, Kreider or Kyle Connor?
Fucking Chris Kreider, bro. He looked like shit that entire game.
Who would you rather have on the ice, Brock Nelson or Kyle Connor? I'd rather have Kyle Connor on the ice.
Yeah,
depends on the game. Depends on the game.
I think like if they did this a year from now, like Quinn Hughes is gonna play, so their defense will look different, right? It was nice to see Sanderson get in there and be able to make a difference. Like he looked good.
He was good.
And props to the Ottawa boys for keeping the game in hand a little bit.
Yeah, right. The little middle finger to their home team.
I was line that's so funny. Yeah, the two guys who score for Team USA. Sens fans are like, "Yo, can we have one thing good? Can we? We're cheering for Canada this one time."
Like, look at that fucking defense. And everything that I read online was like Slavin and Faber. Like these guys are the best pairing, and they were fucking good.
They were incredible.
And Sanderson played a really similar way too, because I was kind of watching him while he was on the ice. They just have their stick everywhere. Like there's nothing that gets past them, especially Slavin. Like,
yeah,
PK Subban was pumping Slavin's tires the whole entire tournament.
Dude, because he like it's and thank goodness that somebody that plays like that is finally getting some recognition. Because he's so good at He's
Nick, no.
he's back. Because
If I
he's
do that, just know it's because of audio cutout.
all right.
Okay.
But Slavin is so good at defense. He's just so good at defense, and people like that don't get their due most of the time. But I'm glad to see that he did because he was incredible. And like that block on that one, I don't even remember who shot the puck.
Yeah.
Sick block.
The one that he just like swung his sticker. There was like an open net, and he just was like he had his stick right there on the puck on the backside.
That was
He
with
wasn't even looking.
Crosby. Crosby was about to put that in, and he just like blind swung his stick around and smacked it away.
Right.
It's incredible, dude. He had he and then Faber. What's wild to me is like Slavin's an older fella, and Faber is the youngest guy in the tournament, and they just come together and are like, yeah, we're just gonna be the best shutdown pair in the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Next
good.
Team USA that gets put together, those guys are going to be with each other.
Yeah, hey,
So-
we can talk about that. I got a little segment at some point later on. I stole it from the Overdrive guys, and I gotta talk about that for in a little bit too. But I stole it from the Overdrive guys. It's called Lock or Not. They played it with Canada, Team Canada. Like, I will name a player, and you'll say, are they a lock for the Olympic roster next year or not? They did it with Canada. I figure we do it with the U.S.
That's fun. I
Could
like
be
that.
fun.
Also,
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no. So we're talking right now. We're talking about the championship game, the final game. Jacob Slavin was the standout for Team USA, 100%. If you were watching the game, I think everyone would agree on that. I guess I don't know if you want to get into some rants about the championship game, but I have I have a rant,
dude. Let it fly.
As a Team USA fan, and that's all. That's all I'm going to say. So, I have another little note at the end. But so USA lost 3-2 to Canada in overtime. It was one of the best games of hockey I've ever seen. Like, it, was just the stress levels were high. The
I didn't
way
even finish it. I was so tired that night. I shut it off in the middle of the third.
You fell asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. I could not watch it anymore.
Unbelievable.
And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh man. Sorry, Eric.
No, all good, all good. Not to go on too much of a tangent. It's funny you say that, Nick, because they asked John Tavares about the game, and apparently he's like, "Yeah, I shut it off before overtime. I went to bed because my kids had to get up early the next day." and all the people in the comments were like, "This is why you're not on Team Canada." I'm like, "All right, that's a little. Come on, don't be." He's just a dad. He's just a dadder. But yeah, so as an American hockey fan, this is what I'll say. And it involves the last play. It involves the play of how is Connor McDavid so wide open in the slot in overtime? And I looked at a video today, and you see a breakdown in defensive coverage. Adam Fox and Austin Matthews have a miscommunication. Someone is missing their assignment. And I think a lot of people are blaming Matthews. But when I watch that play, Matthews is closest to the puck, and he's putting pressure on Marner, right? Because you don't want to give Mitch Marner a bunch of time and space in your zone. And I personally thought that Fox should have, slid into the slot there and actually covered his man. This is just me watching the breakdown. I've never played high-level hockey in my life. Regardless of what happened, people took a gamble. They missed. Connor McDavid does not miss. Not miss. But I do think people are being like really, really harsh with Austin Matthews because of the tournament he had. He had a very good tournament, like 100%. He was defensively responsible. He did all the right things, and that's where my rant is going. He did all the right things, but as a USA hockey fan, we had the Olympics in 2010, right? That's when all of us were like pretty into hockey, right? And we watched Sidney Crosby score the golden goal. And we've waited so long for this. And we hear all about how much star power Team USA has. But what they still do not have is anyone who's clutch. Can you guys give me one person who is clutch on Team USA?
Well, I can, but he was sitting on the bench with a torn groin.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Matthew Tkachuk, dude. Every time a
Eric,
goal
I see
needed to
where
be
you're
scored,
going
he
with
would
this,
score.
too. And it should be Matthews, right? Like, if you're going to say, like, okay, Canada's got McDavid, we have Matthews. It's like a 1A and a 1B on paper, right? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
Matthews has the most goals ever in history, correct?
For
In the
the
season?
Maybe maybe goals per game, maybe.
Anyway, it's like, okay, and like you said, he had a good tournament, but also it's like both USA Canada games, he didn't score.
so
He had two primary assists in the final, but yeah.
and I'm saying this as a USA fan. Like, I truly believe in Team USA. They're amazing, but it's just amazing. Or it's amazing. It's frustrating as a USA fan. We've waited so long for this, and you're still like, these players still have a ways to go to get that. Because a lot of them are so young. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, Connor McDavid does not miss from there. He gets one opportunity. Austin Matthews in tight, saved by Binnington. Austin Matthews, and that's the other thing I want to get to, Jordan Binnington. But a player like that, right, with Team USA, because they have the talent, you want to see a player like that take over a game. A player be like, this is my moment, and I'm going to win it. And I just was waiting to see that moment on Team USA, and it just didn't happen.
Defensively, they have it with Slavin. But
well,
offensively, they don't.
Defensively, yeah, but offensively. And I guess as a USA fan, that's why I was just so frustrated after Canada won, because I'm like, that was such a winnable game for Team USA. But
We had a lot of chances too.
yeah,
Right
yeah.
before.
Even in regulation, Larkin had a couple breakaways that I was like, oh, he's gonna score, and then he doesn't. I'm like, fuck. Right?
Yeah.
And yeah. I have a couple points too once you're done.
That's my, and then the last part of this rant is Jordan Binnington. I know the narrative. This is kind of my salty rant because I don't like Jordan Binnington. All these Canadian fans were like, we apologize to you, Jordan Binnington. I'm going to be honest right now. Did Jordan Binnington have a good game? 100%. Jordan Binnington has had two good games in his career. Game 7 against the Bruins in 2019.
In the same arena.
And that Jordan Binnington is an average goalie other than that. He sucks. And I hope he gets locked into the Olympics, and I hope he gets lit the fuck up. I hope he gets lit the
He's gonna against Russia when Kuch and Kaprizov are in there.
Don't forget Ovechkin over there.
Jordan gonna be rated. People are like, look how good Jordan Binnington is. All right, guys. So is Aiden Hill really good now too? Because he won the Stanley Cup and he was clutch for one postseason. How has he been since then? Just irrelevant.
This year? Ass.
Irrelevant.
Ooh.
Oh, he better now? Yeah, because he has the Vegas Golden Knights in front of him. Like, Jordan Binnington can only be clutch when he has Team Canada in front of him. Since 2019, completely irrelevant. And that's all I'll say. That's my Jordan Binnington, right?
All right, there we go.
Dude.
There we go. I also am not a fan, but I won't lie. He was the game MVP.
Yes,
they
100%.
gave it to McDavid, but that shit should have gone to Binnington because
yes,
all your talk about Matthews couldn't do it. Dude, he was like 3 inches away from doing it, and Binnington just snagged it, and like multiple times, like right before McDavid's goal, Binnington saved the game for them. So I
even look at the 4 goals that USA scored on Binnington over that tournament, right? The one against Gensel was a trickle in.
That was a shit goal.
Larkin sniped it, so that was a good one.
That was a good shot, but like that's one that you want
you could have saved.
You'd like the goalie to have that one, but that was a good shot. That was a great shot.
I remember the Tkachuk goal not being like, it was like a scrum in front of the net type goal. So like that's
kind of
like a great.
You can't really blame that on him,
right? And then I don't remember Sanderson's goal, but like call 2 of the 4 goals on him, like not his fault, you know?
Yeah.
Well, or not great goals. Like he should have had.
Yeah. At least 2. I would say at least 2 of the 4 he should have had.
But
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah, to your point, the 2 good games that he plays are in that same fucking arena. Like the Chicklets guys were like, goalies are weird, and he could think back like, I've done it in this barn, and I'm gonna do it again.
I be clear, like I'm not taking like Jordan mentioned. You're right, Mike. Like he is the MVP of that game, 100%. He is the MVP of that game. I'm not taking that away. All I'm saying is, I guess that's the perfect summary to my rant, right? The player who was criticized for being one of the worst choices to be on their team has himself a game, and all of the top end talent on Team USA cannot have themselves a game in the championship game against Canada. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I understand that. So that was my first thought, was like that was when, and then I took a step back and I was like, let me just calm down and take a step back here. I know. I was shocked as well that I did that. But I took a step back and I was like, in the end, it was a 1-goal game in overtime. It was, the chances were right there. And it's a friggin' rubber disc on ice. Like, you get a different bounce here, different bounce there, and US wins, and we're talking about something totally different here.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to say, so I don't know, I'll have a bunch of the US like people online been like talking mad crap about Canada, being like, this is our game now, because I haven't seen any of that. Like
No,
before.
I think it's like I'll say no, I haven't seen anything like that, but I think there's been a lot more like attention on the US side of things, strictly because of that fight situation in the first game. Like, it polarized people and brought a bunch of different like viewership into it.
Yeah.
I think
So I think like there's a lot of, if that's happening, I would bet that it's a lot of
it's a lot of like hockey newbies who came in and watched that one game and saw the US beat Canada and were like, it's our game now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, it's always gonna be Canada's game. They invented that shit. It's always gonna be their game.
They're freaking good at it.
But I gotta say, and it's an excuse. Like, listen, Canada played a great game. They won. But I gotta say, if rosters are healthy, I think we could have a different story on our hands. But who knows? Because here's the thing. Because I was listening to Overdrive and they were talking about like, and we didn't even have Pietrangelo or Theodore
and
great players, very good players.
I mean, I'd rather
have they forgotten about likely Norris winner Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy? Like,
I mean, in my opinion, right? Like, I can't remember the kid's name that filled in for him. What was his name?
Thomas Harley?
No, not Harley. The other one.
Sanheim
had a freaking shit ton of ice time.
He was great. Yeah, he was good.
He played good. I'd almost rather have him over Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo's like 35, right? Like, have a young.
I don't know. I don't know how that would have gone.
I didn't think like, yes, Makar wasn't in that first game and he was in the second game, but I don't think like him being in that second game made that huge of a difference. Like, yeah, it's a difference on the power play. They also didn't have Morrissey, which I'm sure could have, if he would have been in that game too, it could have been a completely different story. But like, in just like seeing how the game kind of progressed, I didn't think like Makar made that much of a difference. Like,
he would take some
play,
like he would take attention, but
I think the power play looked way different having him on the top of it.
Yeah.
Instead of Morrissey, like Morrissey was on the first in the first game, but I just want to switch it over to USA's goalie. So it's like
The Buck.
He looked good, right? Hellebuck looked good, but then it's like this fucking guy can't win in big moments.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
upsetting.
Get
Because
pumped in
that's
the
the thing,
playoffs,
because he
and
did
like
play really well.
yeah, in every game, like he gave up like the first game they played, gave up the one right off the bat,
Dude,
and
I
then
freaked out. I immediately was like, this fucking guy can't fucking do it when the pressure's on. God fucking damn it. I was like sitting on the couch yelling.
and then and then the game against Canada, he gives up that one to McDavid right off, and you're like, son of a bitch. Obviously, he didn't play. Otter played the game after that, but like he shut him first two games. Like gives up that first goal, shuts the game down after that, right?
Yeah.
And then in this game, or in the championship game, you see McKinnon just kind of wheel around and just throw it at the net, and I'm like, that's not going. And then I'm like, ah, shit, that just went in.
It's a great.
Here we go again. But like, it's just like it's kind of depressing. Like, you know, he's probably going to win the Vezina again this year because he's been so good. But it's like, god damn, dude.
I know, like
yeah,
this,
you put your trust in him and he's going to play well. But then like,
the
it's
biggest
offense.
moments he craps his pants, dude.
You know who else I was impressed with though this whole tournament was Eichel.
Yeah.
He played well.
Offensively, he wasn't like obviously that crazy offensively impactful, but every time McDavid was on the ice, Eichel was on the ice, and he seemed to do a pretty good job containing him for the most part.
Yeah, no, again, it was kind of impressive to see how, you've got these extremely talented offensive players on the ice, and yet both games are low scoring because it's just everybody was like, we're gonna defend, we're just gonna defend, and everybody was so good at that. It was quite surprising to me because a lot of these guys, you're not like, ooh, defensive stalwart, but they did it. So.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want to talk about, especially for the whole tournament, for Team USA, who was the most disappointing player for you? I do just want to say before we get into this with Hellebuck,
I got one.
I think everybody thinks it's the same one on USA.
Wait, what was Eric? What were you gonna say about Hellebuck?
I was just gonna say about Hellebuck. It is kind of, he really doesn't win in big games ever, which is like, that feels bad. But at the same time, like he did
all he could.
And he also, I don't know any goalie that would save that McDavid shot at the end. I'm going to be honest. Like, but at the same time, yeah, you're right. Like, Binnington took over the game. Again, who on Team USA, right? It's like, it could be a goalie. Goalie could take over the game. You guys remember Ottinger against Calgary in like 20, what year was it? 20, like where Calgary was out shooting Dallas by like 30 shots. And Ottinger was like, yeah, none of these are going in.
It was like 40 to like 15 or something. And they're tied. And I'm like,
yeah.
Does Dallas want to play? What is happening?
Yeah. But no, yeah, like you were saying though, Mike, you're right. Like it's a 1-goal game. Anything could have happened. Like, I think those Team USA players, they have all that potential. Hockey is a weird game, and all these players are getting an experience that they've never had before. I think they will come back, learn from this, and they'll definitely, have that chip on their shoulder. Like, they'll be like, we were that close, But for the player, that was the most disappointing. What were you going to say, Nick? I'm curious.
I have two.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to think about it a little bit more, but I know like the internet is very disappointed in how Jack Hughes played.
Yes,
that was one of mine. Dude was he was doing nothing the entire tournament. Yeah. He was skating around and he would touch the puck and then it would just be gone, and it just, the puck died on his stick. Like, I don't know.
So PK Subban, I think, I forget what game it was. I guess maybe it was the championship game. He said something, they were like, who's your pick for overtime to score? And he couldn't think of anyone. You could just tell. And he's like, I'm going to go with my guy, Jack Hughes. And I'm like, dude, the only reason you said that is because you guys were teammates on the Devils. In what mind do you think Jack Hughes is scoring in overtime? I don't know when he's on the ice until someone says Hughes going to get the puck I'm like, oh yeah, there he is. Forgot
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
So bad. So bad.
He was really, really unimpressive. Well, I'll tell you my second one. Another Metro player, Adam Fox, man.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking too.
Adam Fox, what are you
Yeah.
doing, pal? He just was not. He was just a non-factor
Yeah.
basically the whole time. He started the tournament quarterbacking the power play and did that for about 3 seconds until they were like, "All right, we got to change this up." And then they put Zach Wierenski out there, and he was fantastic.
Zach Wierenski's unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, and I know, so I know that he was really good. And did he win a Norris? Adam Fox?
Wierenski?
Yeah,
I can't
did.
remember.
Oh, Fox did. Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, last couple years.
It's been rough for him the last couple of years. Yeah.
You were right too about the Norris.
He did
thing.
get hurt last year, but
when
Yeah.
when you highlighted Slavin playing defensive hockey, right? It's like that's the Norris right there. Adam Fox putting up 100, however many points he did by passing it to Panarin and whoever else. It's like, okay, great. Do you know how to like defensively cover your guys? Obviously not, because guess who was a -1 on that McDavid going OT? Adam
I was
Fox.
gonna say Fox was on the ice and he was like 10 feet away from him.
Yep, him and Matthews were the one that missed their. I don't know if you heard me explaining this. They missed their coverages. Matthews was closer to Marner, so he takes Marner, and Fox should go in front of the net or into the slot, and Fox just follows Matthews to the puck. There's the game.
That's the game.
So, but yeah, that's a good one, Adam Fox. I actually was going to say another Metro player who's on the same team as Adam Fox now, JT Miller.
He was a non-factor too.
What else did he do other than the fight? I'm going to be honest.
He hit a couple times. I think he had a couple decent hits, but that's it, man.
That's it. Actually, he did have a good defensive play. He was back checking at one point.
Yeah, but he was quiet though.
But he was
I
quiet.
agree.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, like that whole like these guys should be contributors, but they're not. Like they're skilled enough to be able to, but they're not doing shit. Is the Kreiders and Brock Nelson type players that like these guys probably shouldn't really be on this team at this point.
They were
But
the ones I was surprised at when I saw the list, and I was like, "What?"
like Kreider hasn't like I get the Kreider thing. You put him on the power play and put him in front of the net, like he might be able to get something going right there. Other than that, like he's back to his old self where he can't score this whole season. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right, Nick. I like the big thing, right, for me was when you look at the earlier games in the tournament, you see your Nelsons, your Kreiders, even Trocheck, right? Put them in there. All the Islander and Ranger players, right? Fox, Trocheck, Nelson, Kreider, right? Like they're good in those early games, but when it gets to the championship game, you just see the level of play start to separate. You see it in the ice time, how those players are used, their decisions with the puck. Like they don't want the puck. They're trying to make the safe play. You know, no one's trying to make a play to win it. And it's like,
yeah.
you kind of see why they're on the team, but then
I think Trocheck was a little bit better than those guys, but like I think Jack Hughes was on that pair or was in that line, and like they just didn't see the ice. You guys remember the Trocheck trip?
Oh, dude, I was shouting about it
because he gets cross-checked right before it though too. I'm like, they just missed a cross-check call.
Oh yeah, the reffing's terrible. The reffing's always
on
terrible.
him, and he goes like fucking falling down, and he hooks him right, and I'm like, son of a bitch! like, what are you trying to do there,
dude?
And
Yeah,
it's
the reffing's always bad, but I was mad at him. I'm like, just let him go by, brother.
yeah.
Like you're not gonna. It's not gonna do anything for you here. Swinging your stick at his knees, he's just gonna fall, and then they're gonna have to call it. I was like, yeah, this guy wheels out there on line number 4 and just what a bastard.
I like this segment because we're just being salty USA fans right now, which brings me great joy.
Yeah.
Because listen, I'm still a salty USA fan. But
Well,
the
listen.
last
Go on. Last
No, I was gonna
comment.
I was gonna say the last thing I wanted to talk about, and Nick, you didn't see this. Mike, if you watched the whole game, you did. The too many men call at the end of the game.
You mean the missed?
The
Too
missed
many
too many
men?
men. So that was again, it doesn't matter. It's over and done with. I couldn't believe that wasn't called, but I don't know. You know how they have the rules analysts come on sometimes and explain the stuff like that? Like that actually helps me because, I haven't played high level hockey. These things happen really fast. I know the basics, but I don't know why that wasn't too many men. I don't know.
I think he came on and maybe not right after, but soon after they explained it, and it was explained that they were within a certain range of the bench and the puck didn't hit any of them.
Okay.
So it was
Okay.
like, we're not going to count that, which I understand because that is how they call that.
Then that's totally fine.
Yeah.
There we go. My question.
It wasn't Nazem Kadri where the dude is still 10 feet from the bench and he has the puck. That shit was so fucking annoying, bro.
When that happened, the too many men, you're the first person I thought of. So I'm like, I wonder if Mike's having flashbacks right now.
Dude, and I hate that because listen, remember when the Lightning won and everyone's like, 18 million over the cap, and then they made it into a t-shirt. And that's and so they were trolling.
Yeah.
And then the Avalanche were like, well, let's copy that and troll with this too many men thing. The difference is one of them is actually against the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And one of them's a loophole.
And one of them is a loophole that you guys can write out of the abilities if you would like to, but you don't. Damn it.
When you say you don't, everyone's GM is kind of stupid. Like legitimately. It's like if you're a GM and you're smart, do that. Yeah, use the loophole.
If you got a dude that's on the edge, just rest him for a bit. Yeah, this guy's hurt.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to say one thing about Canada. So I think I think it's a lot of the newbies to hockey were saying this. They were kind of going after Canada because Canada had three Tampa players on it, and they're like, these fucking bums shouldn't be here. There's better players that can play, and they're only here because Coop's here. And I heard this from the Spit and Chicklets podcast, and I totally agree with it. Whit's like, these guys are fucking morons. Like, Coop's gonna bring the guys that he trusts, first of all. And if these guys can play, they're gonna be there. Like, Sorelli should have been there. Point was a fucking bulldog all tournament, right? Like, he should have been there.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's their Point because he plays in Tampa Bay. Point is, I'll say he's slightly underrated, just because when people talk about the best players in the league, they go, obviously you go McDavid, you go McKinnon. Point is probably a top 5 center in the league, and people just don't think about him because he's in Tampa.
Keith Yandel said it on that show the other day that when they played them in the finals, they were more worried about Point than they were Cooch and Stammer.
Yeah, dude, because he's so fast. He doesn't show it very often, but he's so fast.
Here's my point to all this. Newbies to hockey, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Don't make Americans look stupid because you've got dumb hot takes. We can say that shit because we've watched the game for forever. Right?
Yeah.
Granted, I'm the first person to say I don't watch as much hockey as I used to. But you know what I mean? Like, don't come in, start making wild takes on the internet and make it sound like we're a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, then we're just going to get in this fucking pissing match with these Canadian fans that are just going to be able to drag us. And
congratulations, Canada. You won it. Let's see how it goes next year. All right, boys. Let's see.
I have something I want to say on Canada too. And Mike, I'd be interested to hear what you have to say after too. Okay. But I will say I am very happy for Connor McDavid because he has not been able to play international hockey fucking ever in our lifetime, right? Other than Team North America and World Juniors, I guess, but I'm not even counting that. Best on best. And obviously Connor McDavid, when you talk about newbies, right? All these people who always criticize McDavid and you're bad, you're overrated, this or that. It's like and what's annoying, it almost makes me think of Connor Hellebuck in the sense of all the talent in the world. What has McDavid won in his career, right, guys? Like, what does he want? And that's not an insult. It's just like that's hockey.
The Western Conference once.
Yeah, exactly. So seeing him score that goal and celebrate, like now he has a moment. He finally has a moment because he's so good. He's so good. He finally has that moment where people are like, oh yeah, Connor McDavid. He's the guy who scored the new golden goal for Canada, right? So like I am like genuinely very happy for McDavid because he has all the talent in the world. He's such like an unproblematic guy. And I think I'm looking forward to Team USA battling him for many years to come. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot.
Matthew, get your shit together.
Yeah, I'll have to get your shit together.
Yeah,
You know, I'm glad Ben's not here because he'd be rubbing it in our face.
Nah,
It's
he
kind of
wouldn't be
like I
rubbing it
did
too
when
much.
before that game even started, the first game. Sorry, Ben.
No,
Hey,
but-
it's called civic pride
Yeah.
or national
also-
pride.
You live in America. You're an American citizen. You need to root for USA.
Well,
That's all I'm gonna
he's not half because he hasn't done all the paperwork or whatever, but he is half by his blood.
Now listen, if Canada, listen, it's hockey. As long as you keep the chirps light, that's totally fine. If you want to trash talk USA, hell yeah. It's just like you said, the
Go
newbies
ahead.
getting all like the newbies getting all like "Rawr," about it. It's like all right,
Yeah.
all right, settled.
Yeah.
settled.
Yeah. Well, the
You
other
know, Canada's
thing,
good.
the other thing with this whole thing is the political nature of everything made it so much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so that definitely led some fuel to the fire. But we're not going to get into all that because that's, quite frankly, I don't care.
That's not our subject matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No.
All right. Do you guys need to
What
take a
is our
break?
subject matter is talking about these locks or not, you know?
That's right. You know it. Do you guys need to
It's
take a break,
lock
or do you want to
time.
just keep her rolling?
I'm good to
Whatever.
keep it rolling. It's up
All
to
right,
you.
we'll just keep it rolling then. No breaks. This is a one, just straight through because we don't have Benny needing to void his bladder. All right, so
I had a Modelo before this, but I don't need to void.
Oh,
Sorry,
beauty.
go.
beauty.
Go on.
I could grab a Mick Ultra. Oh, Daniel's over there. She won't get one. But she's in the bedroom with the door closed, so she won't get me one. It's right here though. Okay, so lock or not. I have a few, and you guys can throw some in after we get through these. I have 4. They're very interesting. I left out big names like obviously Matthews. The Kachucks will be there, likely. I left out a lot of the big ones that are kind of like, yeah, they're gonna be part of it. All right, so number 1, and this may be one that's obvious, but Jack Hughes. Is he a lock or is he not a lock? Now, the way they did this on Overdrive was each person picked lock or not, and then if it was whichever one had more votes was the determination. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say he is a lock to make the team. I just think he'll be a few years older, or a few years. He'll be a year older. I think that this was just a blip. And I have other reasons that I will get into a little bit later.
I agree.
I'm gonna say
I think he's a lock.
Yeah.
I don't like who are you
he's too
gonna
good.
replace him with too.
That's the
Like
thing.
he's a good young forward.
That's the thing.
I think you're right. I think it's a inexperience type thing too in international play and
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's like 23. Like, dude's still a kid. All right, number 2. Here we go, gents. This one. Adam Fox.
No, he's a not. in my opinion.
I
And I'll
agree.
tell you why
I,
after.
I agree. I'm gonna say it. And by the way, not doesn't mean that they're not gonna make the team. It just means they're not locked in to stay on the team. So he could still make the team, but I'm saying not as well because that was a pitiful showing. And I think there's way better choices out there.
Well,
Not to mention Quinn Hughes wasn't there,
Right.
and
so here's my thing, right? Slavin and Faber, locks, 100%.
oh yeah,
Hannafin looked great, in my opinion.
oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
big, dude. That's a
Anderson
big
had a
basket.
very good showing in that last game. I'm like, okay, I'd rather have Sanderson over Fox at this point. And then you're gonna have Hughes come in too. Like maybe, like I would have Rensky before I'd have Fox, and I'd have Hughes before I'd have any of them. You know?
Werenski is one of the ones that I didn't even put in because I mean he's got to be back.
Right.
100%.
Got to be back.
100%.
That dude's absolute beauty. What do you think about Fox there, Rick? We say not.
I say not as well because I look at the up and coming talent that USA has on the D core there, and also the injuries they had. Yeah, no, I say no.
I think he might get knocked off there.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Here's an interesting one for you guys. Matt Boldy scored the first goal for the U.S. in the tournament,
he
and I
did.
think that was it.
Yeah, he had a quiet. He was just kind of like there, kind of like Jack Hughes.
He
was just kinda there.
He didn't do a whole lot offensively. But he didn't cost a whole lot defensively.
Right, he still was on the ice a good amount, but it seemed like every time, every game, it was just like the main six forwards were on the ice, and like one guy might have got shuffled in and out, but like, I don't know.
Dude, did you see in that first game against Canada in the second period they went to the Kachucks and Matthews?
Yeah.
Dude, I said to Danielle, I was like, Danielle, when we were talking about this months ago, Nick had that line, and I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be the best line of all time. And then guess what? It was.
They score immediately.
So this Boldy question, if not, who is a replacement that you would think of?
That's a
Well,
really good question.
see,
Is
that's
Boldy
another
still
question.
young, isn't he? Or no?
He's very young. He's, I believe,
Wasn't he a
I think
rookie
he's like
last
24
year?
or 25, maybe. He might
Yeah,
have been an older
so
rookie.
No, that was
I'm gonna
Faber. That's
say
Faber.
I'm gonna say lock for Boldy because I think he kind of fits. I feel like that identity that Team USA is going to be looking for more than Jack Hughes does, personally. And like, I think he's a good two-way guy, responsible, moves the puck well, isn't afraid to be physical. So he's a lock for me.
All right. To answer your question, Nick, somebody who could draw in instead of him, kind of similar bodies. He's pretty big. Tage Thompson, not
Oh yeah.
here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So let me run you down some players.
They did send him to Boston.
Let me run you down some players here. That were not there for the U.S. And it's kind of pissing me off looking at it that they brought some of these guys.
Well,
and not-
before I just want to add right before you go through this, you have to think like at least Kreider and Nelson not going back. So you're gonna have two new guys coming in anyway.
I would be shocked if they were on, because listen to this. Who wasn't there? Clayton Keller,
Oh my God, yeah.
who is sitting at 60 points right now. He is top 4 in scoring for American players.
He's always been good.
Very good player, underrated because of where he plays once again.
Dude, I love Brock Nelson, but I'm sad right now hearing all these names.
Tage Thompson plays on a terrible ass team, has 51 points.
Oh my God.
Jason Robertson, not actually having a super good year, 51 points. It's just like
There's definitely better options.
yeah, there was better options. You know who I'm excited for, and I think that oh, you know what? They won't be there. He won't be there, but dang, he will be one day. Lane Hudson.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he'll be there next year
No, I don't think
because
so
the
either.
U.S. is just stacked with uh defense. You know who would
Yeah.
have been really good? I shouldn't be looking at this list. You know who would have been really good at this tournament? One Matthew Nyes would have been, because he would have fit right into what the U.S. was doing.
He's the guy in front of the net. You have a Kachuk. Kachuk gets off the ice, then you put Nyes on the ice.
He
Oh,
would have
dear.
fit right into it, man.
Oh dear.
Instead, you throw Chris Kreider with his creaky ass joints out there.
I think the interesting part of the segment, right, with the locks and not, it's like I think you said it, Mike, like the identity of the team, right? Like you said, Matthew Nyes would fit the identity. What identity are they going to go for at the Olympics?
Well,
are they going to
see-
try that same? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And this was going to be my point. Why I think Jack Hughes is more of a lock is this tournament that we just saw was NHL rules. The NHL rules, NHL ice. It's going to be international rules, which is way softer. Way. It's like you can hit, but it's
Half
like
those
you can't
hits-
really. Like Kachuk's not going to be doing what he was doing
Right.
in
Like
this
half
thing.
those hits that the Kachucks laid, or anything that McAvoy laid on anybody, like those are probably going to get called as penalties.
Yeah.
You're not going to be fighting.
Yeah, no
right?
fighting. And on top of that, there's like an extra whatever feet of real estate in width. The international ice is wider. So there's going to be way more space. I think there's going to be way more emphasis on skill guys, which is why I think Jack Hughes will be there. And I think as much as I love Faber and Slavin, and I think they should still go. I think they should still be a pairing. If the U.S. freaks out and tries to galaxy brain it, I could see them going for a Lane Hudson over a Jacob Slavin because of the extra real estate. Because Hudson will be able to do a lot more with that than Slavin would.
Yeah.
To be clear, I don't think they should do that. But I could see them being like, we're just gonna score goals.
That's interesting.
Just trying to make it work.
You know, I think with the international rules, I feel like the hits will still be big because those won't be penalties. But you know, all the after the whistle stuff that the Kachucks love to do, I feel like that's where they can't be like the annoying shithead. Like, remember in the first
Like the
game,
chip shot on Crosby when he's just skating by him. Or
skating by and Kachuk just has the cross. It's like, dude, there's no point in doing that. But all right,
They're playing NHL rules, baby. Wear them down.
I say there's no point. There is a point. Yeah, he's trying to get it in their heads, but it's like, yeah, don't. If that's what'll give your, team, make your team have to kill a 4-minute penalty, you don't want to be doing stuff like that.
Very true. Very true.
Oh,
All right, the
that's okay.
final one I have for you, gentlemen. Dylan Larkin.
Lock.
yeah, he's got a lot of skill. I would want him.
gonna
I
lock
would
him
want
in?
him just because of like an experience thing. Like, I'm trying to think of their offense. Like, they don't have anybody who's got a ton of like international. Let me backpedal. They do. I think Larkin's just been around longer. Like, I think he just brings a different leadership aspect to that team. Like, even if he's not like on the top line, that's kind of like how I think of Oshie. Oshie's like the big international player that I seem to think of every time I think of Team USA.
Yeah.
Like, I think of Larkin kind of now the same way.
Yeah, it's well, because it's been so long since we've had any of this. Like, nobody here was even, I don't know if anybody on the team even played for the US in the World Cup. I don't like maybe Kreider, but that's like the only one I could think of that even played for the US in the World Cup. Everybody else was either not in the league yet or was too young and played on the Team North America.
Yeah, geez, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like Larkin would have been on Team North America.
Oh my god.
And I'm fairly certain he was. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I would say lock for Larkin just because I don't know who else they would bring. What do you guys think? So we'll talk about this and then we can wrap this up because we've been going for a while. Last player. What do you think about Cole Caulfield? Do you think he makes it? He's got some skill, got a shot. A little smaller, so might benefit from
I-
the less
I wa-
physical.
I
What
wonder.
to do with coaching too? I think. You not
Is-
think like? Do you not think like it depends on like?
Is Sullivan
It's kind of
in?
back to the identity thing.
Is Sullivan
Wait.
coaching the Olympic team? Is he the same? Because Cooper was locked in for this and the Olympics for Canada.
That's a good question. I don't know if Sullivan's.
He's
locked
a
in.
dual citizen too, by the way. Apparently, Cooper could have been the U.S. coach instead,
Dang.
but Canada called him first or something, and so that pisses me off. But
Yeah, fuck you, Thomas Harley.
what? What?
Dual citizen. He was fucking born in Syracuse.
Oh, I saw that dude, and I'm like, what are you doing over there, dude? You're on the wrong side.
Dual citizen.
Yeah, he was born to
that's what
Canadian
I was
parents.
saying, that part.
Why were they in
Um,
Syracuse, I wonder?
I don't know.
Because it's cold. I don't know.
Why does anyone go to Syracuse?
So you went through that list, right? Like I don't know. I think it all depends on like what kind of team you're trying to build.
Kind of depends on how the players perform as well. Are performing. Yeah, like there's a lot on here that's like I feel like Matthew Nyes will probably get a good look. Man, he's only 22. Dang.
So, my concern with Caulfield is this, right? Kyle Connor is kind of the same role, right? Not the biggest guy, but what a shot and skates really well, right? And he's healthy scratched. So, like, is Caulfield going to go and then they'll use him a bit, but then he'll be healthy scratched? Because he's kind of that same, like he has a very specific. I wouldn't call Caulfield like an all-around player. Not that he's bad. Like, obviously, he does everything.
Yeah.
Enough. But in tournaments like that, when it's best on best, right? He'd be used for very specific purposes. I don't know. That's tough. Like Larkin is a lock for me because you said there's more ice, and Larkin still skates like the wind, even though he's not old by any means, but he's been around for a bit. Still can keep up with everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Caulfield could lock in as an extra.
He could go. Yeah,
Who do you
he's
get?
he's not a he's not part of the lock or not. He's more I just kind of wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it.
I got a lock or not for you guys.
Hit us.
Charlie Mack.
Ooh. I feel like oh man. I feel like he's a lock. I feel like he's a lock.
Lock.
So just because you're talking about the differences in international play, and I'm sure he will be, but I could also see why he might not be because if like he is a little slower, like
he does not. I see what you're saying because he's a good skater, but he's not a fast skater. We'll say
right, and he's obviously really good defensively. He's pretty good offensively, but he's also a big hitter too. Like
he does like to hit.
I don't know. It's like it's kind of a different style of game they got to play, and you still want to have like that physical aspect to it, but like it's not like he's not going to be able to just like rely on hitting constantly like he kind of did when he was in,
Yeah. I think he'll be a lot because he does like he didn't show it a whole lot because of all the rest of the skill that is on that blue line. But he's a very good puck mover, and I think he quarterbacks that the Bruins power play. They've been not good this year.
Well, this year, but yeah, he's been on the Bruins for a sec, so
Yeah.
he's quarterbacked some better.
He's a very good defenseman. I think he will be in. Like I think when you looking at next year, I think you're looking at Quinn Hughes, you're looking at Zach Werenski, you're looking at probably then it's probably McAvoy, dude. It's those two and then McAvoy, I think, for me, as far as U.S. defensemen go. And then you've got the Slavin Faber
Yeah.
pairing to lock it down.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at one more. You're looking at one more.
Shit. Hold on.
Sanderson, baby.
Jakey Sanderson. We cut out there, and Nick didn't get to hear my glorious
I didn't.
listing of names.
I just think I heard you say you were talking about Werenski and Slavin and Faber.
Yeah. I just
I
think
think
he
the U.S.
fits in
needs
there.
to give a good look at my boy Jake Sanderson because
Hey, that's when you right when your audio cut out, Eric was like, and then Jake Sanderson. He fills it out. He fills out that top six. Jakey
Yep.
Sanderson.
get
Get
the
him
fuck
in
out
there.
of here, Fox.
Yeah.
Yep.
You suck.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, congratulations to Canada. You guys, you did it
Yeah.
again. You are it's your game, guys. You did it. But hey, listen, we ain't that far behind.
No.
We are
And
not
also,
that far behind.
Shout out to one of the most entertaining things in that tournament. When they just would throw Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid out there. That's just
Pretty
that's just insane. Yeah.
Pretty
it's really-
sweet. Pretty sweet.
And also, please Logan Thompson be in the Olympics next year, please. So it's true best on best. And once again, fuck you, Jordan Binnington.
Yeah, we don't like Jordan Binnington around these parts.
Nope.
Get a moot. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's all I had. That's all I had. Well, you know what? Let me do this real quick, and then we'll call it there. We're getting back into the NHL. They had games today, and tomorrow,
Oh, yeah, they did.
and going
They
on.
never had games today.
Immediate, dude. 2
Oh
days,
my
immediately. So I'll give a quick rundown on the standings of where we're at. In the East, top 3 for the Atlantic are the Panthers, the Leafs, and your Tampa Bay Lightning. And by
Yeah.
your, I mean mine. And then in the Metro, it's the Caps, the Hurricanes, and the Devils. Then the Red Wings in that first wild card, and Nikki's Ottawa Senators in that second wild card, tied in points with the Blue Jackets. In
Tough
games
going into that
played,
break for the boys. It was a tough stretch.
a little
Tough Florida
tough stretch.
going into that break.
Yeah, you gotta watch out down there.
Yeah.
And then the Bruins 1 point back, Rangers 3 points back, 4 points back. So, oh dear. In the West, Central, the Jets up top, Stars in second, Wild in third. In the Pacific, the Golden Knights and Edmonton Oilers are tied right now at 72 points apiece. After Edmonton's slow start, they're back.
Unbelievable.
Yep. And then, 7 points behind both of those teams, the LA Kings in third. So,
Jeez.
yeah, jeez. And then in the wild cards, the Avalanche in that first wild card spot, and then the Canucks are holding on to that second one by 3 points over the Calgary Flames. So, hey, outside chance for the Flames.
Wait, real quick. Where are the Blues?
55 points, so like 8 points back of that second wild card spot. They're 6th in the wild card race.
Interesting. I wonder who their starting goalie is. It's probably not that.
Dude,
Watch him
Eric
turn
is-
it around though.
Eric is so mad at Jordan Binnington, dude.
He's gonna turn it around this second half of the season. and just
Imagine he
fucking light
turns,
it up.
dude. I will be so mad.
You know what? If he does that, I actually would have to eat shit. I would actually have to eat shit. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
be
you'd,
so-
you'd have to poop on a plate and just
Yeah.
yeah. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so that's the recap. If you guys forgot over the last 2 weeks, tight race in the East still, and yeah, the Lightning actually, that last stretch for the Lightning, they did themselves a lot of favors there because they're now 4 points ahead. They have a 4 point gap on the Red Wings with
Yeah,
a
they
game in
took
hand still.
games against Ottawa too, so that
Those were
definitely
big.
helped them.
Those were big.
Yeah.
Big games. But yeah.
So two things. I have one last little guessing game we can play.
Oh.
There's L team. Actually, all right, before the guessing game, shout out Sidney Crosby enjoying the time of his life with a good team, and then going back to his Pittsburgh Penguins and getting throttled 8-3 by Washington today.
Jesus.
Back to the
Dude, I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw the Penguins tweeted out the lineup, and it was Crosby on line 1 in the middle, and it was your boy Beauvillier and then Ricard Raquel on the other wing, and I'm like, oh my god, this poor bastard. He goes from playing with like the best players in the league to that, and I'm like, this poor guy.
All right. So here's the guessing game. There was one NHL team who had no players go to the Four Nations. And I know this is
I already know it.
Oh, you already know it.
Actually, no, I don't think I do.
Okay. It's one
Sharks.
team. Sorry.
Wait.
the
Let him get his thing out.
I know this is obviously different because it's Four Nations, right? So no Russia for political reasons, no Czechia, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm very surprised. I was very surprised by this team. So go ahead.
I'm going through I'm looking at each team and I'm like, okay, yep, they had a player.
Utah.
Is that your final guess?
Was
Utah?
it the Nashville Predators? No, they had Saros.
They did.
Hold on, let me keep looking. Dang, man, there's a bunch it could be, dude. I'm going to say my first guess. My second guess. The Buffalo Sabres. It was not them. Shit. Is Yoki Haru still on the Sabres? Because if so, then that's my... LA Kings. Last guess.
It is none of those teams.
Damn it.
Who is it?
Is Utah still your final guess?
Yes.
You guys are not going to believe this. It's the Washington Capitals.
No shit.
The team that is in second or first place, because they won today. I'm not sure if they surpassed Winnipeg.
They did.
They have 0 players there. Isn't that unbelievable?
That is wild.
Because Logan Thompson should be there, but wasn't. Ovechkin should be
Team wasn't there.
Obviously wasn't there. But yeah, look at their team. They have Pierre-Luc Dubois, Mangiapane. Like they have all these they're just like such a team. Like it's all teamwork. It's not a superstar other than Ovechkin. He's kind of old now.
Dang,
2016.
I'm like the Washington Capitals. No freaking.
Who the hell was there for? Oh, Chicago. Probably Teravainen.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the Sharks? Who the hell was there for the Sharks?
Granlund.
Oh,
no.
okay.
He got traded to Dow.
Yeah.
Ooh, who was there for the Sharks? That's actually a good question. Let me see the Sharks roster.
Did Granlund get traded during this though?
I think it was like right before.
Yeah.
Who the hell was there? Who was there for the Kraken?
Who was there for the Sharks? Maybe no one.
Was this an incorrect guessing game?
Oh no, was I wrong? I mean, well, I wasn't wrong about the Capitals having no players, but damn, there could have been 2 teams.
Was Capo Kakko there for whatever the hell for Finland? He had to be.
Yeah, Capo Kakko.
Yeah.
Capo Kakko was there.
Was Tolvin in there?
Eric, I'll give you that though, because Granlund was like just there.
Maybe. Oh, wait, you know what? You know why? That's probably he was just there, and also when these rosters were announced, I think that's what they're basing off, right? When these rosters were announced, he was a Shark.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is wild, though. That's insane that the top team in the league, is the one team that did not. Nobody was there. That's wild.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
that is wild.
But yeah, that's all I got, guys.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. This late night after dark episode of the Duster Squad podcast. That's why I cursed so much. Not because I was mad. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. That's it for us. We'll see you maybe next week. We kind of just we're kind of just rolling into these whenever we can do them, and that's about all we can say. Maybe we'll do one next week. Maybe we won't. We'll definitely have to do one. Shit, man, trade deadline's coming up.
Yeah, we got to do one at the deadline.
Yeah, we'll have to do one close to the
Hashtag
deadline.
Eric Carlson back to the Senators, boys. Let's see it.
Carlson back. We got a bunch of people. Dude, there's talk Rantanen doesn't know if he wants to stay in Carolina, so they're like, well, shit, we got to get rid of this guy. He could move again.
Unbelievable.
He could move again.
Which is a fucking huge loss to them if they seriously do that.
They would have to get a player back. It would have to be kind of like a player for a player, which is so hard to do at the trade deadline.
They
it feels
did
like.
it, and they should have kept Natchez, but I'll leave it at that.
I love Natchez. I love that guy. I want him on the Lightning. He never will be, but I want him there. All right. Well, we will see everybody when we see you. Sometime around the trade deadline, probably. And we'll probably have Benny back then, so there we go. We can hear from the resident Canadian on the team.
Yes.
All right. We'll see everybody next time. If only we could have heard Free Bird one more time. Would have loved it. All right. Peace out.